John here, and tonight bringing you my review. And I don't know how this review is going to turn out or how long it's going to be because I don't review documentaries much, but I'll give it a shot. Um, the Bill Murray stories, life lessons learned from a mythical man, and that's the whole title. So I don't know if I'll be able to fit the whole title at the top, but that's the title of this documentary. And pretty much this doc, it explores the different fan interactions and stories where they would meet Bill Murray and how Bill Murray would, randomly show up at these different places, whether it be a bar, parties, ball games, etc. Now, if you're going in expecting any sort of like any Bill Murray interviews or segments with Bill Murray, you're not going to get that. Um, it's more about fans sharing their experiences, and you can see the joy from these fans, thinking back to that moment where, Bill Murray showed up at this party or, showed up at the bar, and again, their interactions. Now, throughout, they do show footage from his movies like, Meatballs. That's one they go back to a couple of times. Uh, Caddyshack, Scrooged, some other films. Um, there's a couple of scenes where the guy that made this documentary, he's trying to get a hold of Bill Murray. And they do talk about that a couple of times where, it's damn near impossible to get a hold of Bill Murray because you have to call this 800 number. So the guy that made this is trying to get a hold of Bill Murray and he has no luck. But again, mostly, this documentary, it's about, fans' experiences. And, I'll say this. I know some people out there, how they feel about Bill Murray. They think he's a prick and he's an a-hole and this and that. And I can understand that. But there are certain times in this documentary where it made me smile because, and especially at the very end, after the credits, there's this sweet story where this fan and Bill Murray, well, I don't want to give too much away, but, they're at this hotel and this fan had a sweet story interaction with Bill Murray. And again, I don't want to give too much of that away, but that's after the end credits. And I thought that was a nice story. And yeah, I thought this was, where it's most part about fans. I thought this was nice, and I thought they did a good job in this documentary. Um, again, they do show footage from his films. They show, like some stuff from back in the day where, Bill Murray was on stage, doing improv stuff, and but also too, like I said, throughout they would show footage where Bill Murray, like for example, Bill Murray would show up at this party, and he would interact a little bit, but then he would go to the kitchen and start washing their dishes. There's another story where he went to this bar and he was having a conversation with this guy. This guy had to leave so he can take his dog out, and then when he got back, the bartender's like, where'd you go? Bill Murray's looking for you. He was having a good talk with you. And that same night, Bill Murray got behind the bar and started serving drinks. You got this other story where this newlywed couple, they were taking a photograph on these stairs, and Bill Murray just kind of snuck up and got into the photo, and they took a picture. And it's just some nice stories. And again, like I said before, I know some people out there have their opinions about Bill Murray, being a prick and all. But I would say give this a watch and see if you still feel that way. I mean, this is not perfect. And again, you're not going to get... They do show some stuff with Bill Murray, like as far as... showing up at this one convention and he was asked about this sort of thing and he didn't really give an answer. So you're not going to have Bill Murray talk about this much, the interactions and, and, you know, putting his hands in front of, you know, this guy's face, one of the fans, and he's like, no one's going to ever believe you, or no one will ever believe you, in that interaction. Um, but I thought there were some touching stories in this, and, you know, and just some of the random shenanigans, uh, you know, and then by the end, the guy that made this had saw Bill Murray go to this ball game, and he was trying to meet up with Bill Murray, but the only thing he, like, at the last second, he was able to get a picture, you know, and uh, you know, he wasn't able to talk to him, but, you know, he got a picture. So I thought that was cool. And yeah, I thought, again, this was a nice little documentary. You know, and it's nice to see some of these fan stories, and it's like I hear some of these stories, and I'm like, I can't really say, you know, a lot of those things out there where, you know, again, people have their thoughts about Bill Murray. It's like, and then you hear some of these stories, and I'm like, you know, it's nice to hear, and it's nice to see these fans talk about that, and, you know, their interactions and such, and especially, you know, Bill Murray showing up at these parties where he would, there would be a band playing in the living room, and, you know, you see Bill Murray's in the back with a tambourine, and someone called the cops because they were being too loud. And when the cops showed up at the front door, Bill Murray is standing right there with the tambourine, and he's playing it in their faces. Um, and the cops came in, and, you know, for the party for a little bit. And then there's this one clip. Um, these construction workers, they were renovating a library or something like that, and Bill Murray just randomly shows up and starts reading poetry to the workers. I'm like, okay, it's only Bill Murray. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say give this a watch. I recommend this documentary. Again, I knew nothing about this beforehand, never heard of it, and decided to give it a watch, and I'm glad I did. This was a good one. So, good documentary. You know, again, exploring different fan interactions and stories, and it was worth a watch. So, that's my review of the Bill Murray stories, Life Lessons Learned from a Mythical Man from 2018. Yeah, give it a watch if you're a Bill Murray fan. So that's my review of that. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.